Hi everyone, Jo here. Thanks so much for popping in. As always, I'm looking forward to spending some time with you. And today we're going to have a bit of fun and create a bit of a mixed media tag. And we're just going to add some different depths, some different layers. Look, we've got some lovely products on here. Obviously, we've got our beautiful Lavinia stamps. We've got this beautiful Reindeer Moss. I love this. And we've got some washi tape in the background. You see this here? I found this last time I went to Lavinia and I thought, oh, I need that. I need to play with this. Absolutely fabulous, and it's script. And when you put it on, the edges almost disappear. We've got our lovely craft yarns. We've got some Dinkles, some threads. Oh, lots of things. And I'm aware that quite a few of you sort of message me and say you buy all these different products and you watch videos that show you how to use that specific product for one technique, but you almost need to see what happens when you mix them all together. So this is a bit of that sort of thing. So I do hope you'll join me. Now, the one I create will be something similar to this, but you know what I'm like. Trying to do exactly the same thing second time, well, we can only hope, can't we? So this all starts from watercolour card. And the pack of watercolour card, you can buy, Lavinia sell their own tags, but I love to cut my own because I like a variety of sizes. So if you look on the website, there's also the Framelits die, and I just find this very useful. And what I tend to do is just take one A4 sheet at a time and I cut out, and look, I have to show you, I do keep, when I tell you I keep every piece of card, I really do. I am that crafter, and I'm sure there's a lot of you like me. So I take an A4 piece and I cut out quite a few tags, and these I love to have ready and a batch tag make. So when I was making this one, I created a small one, look, and I like to leave them at this stage. So, you know, a day when you say a bit fed up or Mr. Mojo's gone, you've got a really good starting point there. We could add more colour around the edge. We could decoupage a different flower. You know, lots of things you can do, but it's good to do that. So we're going to work on this one today. Can't wait to do the large one, I've got to be honest, but I'm saving that. And for me, it really is the excitement of thinking, what am I going to use? Now, we're going to start with a little bit of stamping. Portobello, so we're using our VersaFine Clay, and a stamp I haven't used for quite a while. And this one is called the Willow Arch. And thank you for those of you that have commented and said you like the fact I've been using some older stamps recently. It's just, I think it's important to use the older ones and the newer ones. But we don't want to buy them and then forget about them. And this, I'm just going to stamp in opposite corners. So we'll do that one and then turn it round. Oh, my tummy just rumbled. I hope you didn't hear that. Obviously, it needs a cheeky brew and biscuit, which I will do as soon as we've finished our playing. And this one, I'm thinking, let's put it sort of there. Again, I just wanted to start off with sort of a bit of a sort of semi-frame. And then what I'm going to do is I want to add some background to this. Just a little bit of colour. And I'm going to use the lovely Dinkles. So we'll move this out of the way. And the two colours I've gone for today, Sea Blue and Lime Divine. And again, look, coordinating pins. You've got to have coordinating pins, haven't you? Well, in my world, you do. So I'm going to start with a little bit of the blue and then follow a little bit of the green. I'm not putting too much on. And it's up to you whether you do water first or spritz first. I'm going, well, that would be silly, wouldn't it? Water first or spritz first. What I meant, you see, if I was good, I'd wipe that bit out. But you know what I'm like. So you can either put your Dinkles on first and then add water, or you can add your water and then your Dinkles. I like to sort of do a bit of both. I also like to have my puffer on hand if I want to just move it round a bit. And I just want a nice general shaped background. Just want a bit of that colour. And what I'm going to do is just add a little bit more green up here So I'm just going to, a couple of taps, that's all. A couple of spritzes and move that colour just into that area there. And I'll put the lid on that. And just to bring the original back, if you look, it's just to have this lovely colour in the background. And underneath, can you see there, underneath our lovely washi tape? And this is why I was saying I would batch card make. I would have 2 or 3 of these and let them dry naturally. We're going to heat this one with the heat tool, but I do think for me they are better if you just let them dry naturally. But we'll come in with the heat tool, so just ignore the noise. Give it a quick bit of a pat, just to speed it up. Always heat from the front and the back. Right, and while that's just finishing off drying, we'll stamp the beautiful flowers, just to give that a couple more minutes to dry. So for this we're using the moss flowers, and there are 4 fabulous flowers in this collection. And this is where I use my scraps, and look, I really do use my scraps. And I've gone for pine cone for this. And I tend to stamp up, look, lots of pieces of scrap card. I think if I'm putting ink on my stamps, I can stamp quite a few. And also, again, if you've been struggling with Mr. Mojo, it's a good time, you know, to stamp a few and then maybe make yourself a brew and then colour a few. And then if you feel like it, cut some out. If not, I mean, I have various ones, look, stamped, coloured, cut out at various stages. Now, what I did is I've coloured, and I've done these already, but I'll do one to show you. One of the large and 2 of the small in the blues, but then I've also gone for one of the large moss flowers and coloured it in the green and cut that up, and that's what my leaves are. So again, they don't just have to be flowers, they can be leaves. Now I'm using my clean colour pens. Now for the leaves, I used number 50, which is yellow, 53, which is yellow green, and 44 deep green. Just to come in with those bluey green tones. And then for the blue, we're going to use 302 haze blue, 37 cornflower blue, and 30, which is just blue. And the way I tend to approach this, so we'll put that over there, we'll just colour one. And again, if you've got your own way of colouring, you know, you just colour how you wish. For me, and this is normal stamping card, so they will blend to a certain extent. Obviously, they will blend even better on watercolour card, but I get enough blending on this. So I'm putting my deeper colour in the middle, and then what I'm going to do is hold the middle colour, and with my lighter colour, pick up some of that on my nib, and then colour with that, just to blend. And then as it blends out, look, you'll have that lighter colour. So we're almost getting 3 colours. And I know you're saying, why don't I put this one on here? Just because I find it blends nicer and I control the blending better. So you see, if I've created that, I'll bring it a bit closer, can you see? And I think it needs a little bit darker there. I can pick a little bit up on the nib and just blend it. And then it will blend back to that lovely light colour. And again, it's just a habit. It's just the way I've got into doing this. But if you've got your own little, you know, tricks and ways, please share them with us all. But also, this is just the way I do it. We're all different, which is beautiful, because that's the way of the world, isn't it? You don't want clones of us all the same. So we'll just colour this last one. And again, if you're having a difficult day, or, I mean, again, I mentioned the other day about people going away to the caravan, and a couple of you messaged and said you were in the caravan, or one lady, and I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, said you were a dog sitter and you went round different houses and you took minimal craft supplies with you. Well, this would be fabulous. You could stamp some flowers, take your pens and look. And I just love that sort of graduation in the colour, and it's so vivid and bright. Now, to go around them, so last time I was at Lavinia, I treated myself to some of these sparkly Jelly Roll metallic pens. These are Sakura. And what I've done, round the edge of the green, so that's the leaves, I went for the orange. But then round the edge of the florals, on this, you've got this lovely ridge here, I went for the green. And two things, A, I think it looks nice, but B, it actually helped when I was cutting out. It almost gave me a better line to cut to. And a couple of little dots, and there we go. I have got some cut out, so you don't worry, you don't need to watch me cutting out. But that also gives my tag time to just do that extra dry. So it's lovely and dry now. So on with this gorgeous washi tape. Now this is actually called, I've written it down, Vintage Tex Washi Tape. And what's lovely is when you tear it, look. So I'm just going to put a piece right across the middle there. When you rub it in, I love the way that you can still see our lovely dinkles through it. So I'm just going to tear and just add some, getting smaller. And again, you'll take your time. And for me personally, I think it looks better if it's torn. I prefer the torn edges as opposed to the cut edges. I must admit, the first thing I did was use this in my lovely traveller's journal, which is coming on a treat. And in fact, I might just put this tag in there. But look, I don't know about you, but I'm really chuffed with that. Sorry, I'll just have to give the camera time to catch up. Isn't that lovely? I just think that looks so good. Sorry, little shake of the camera there. So now it comes to the embellishing, and because I'm going to be gluing my embellishments on, I'm going to add my craft yarn first. So I've chosen some craft yarns out of my bag. And a few of you have said you struggle pulling the craft yarns through. So a little tip, I always have a piece of elastic. And if you just pop the elastic through there, look. Pop your craft yarn in it. It'll just pull it through. There, how easy was that? And then that is ready. She says, let me get the colours. Because it's easy if you cut large bits of craft yarn, but I'm sure you're like me. You're a crafter. I like to cut just the right size. I don't like trimming it down because I feel I've wasted a little bit then. But that's fine. We've got it all through. And I keep this on my desk. So useful. Right, so now time to add some lovely embellishments. And what we're going to do is, first of all, I've got these lovely threads. Now, one's gold and one's silver. So I've gone for gold. And those of you that are shouting are certainly going for gold, thank you. And I'm going to use the silicone adhesive. And what I tend to do is you can use a cocktail stick. I've just got an old sort of pointy tool, what they call pokey tool, that's the ones. And I'm just going to put some in the middle, look. And then just add some lovely yarn. And just put that so it catches in the middle. We'll hold that down, just give my finger a wipe. And then next, our lovely Reindeer Moss. Put that back in there, and that lasts for ages. And, you know, I got it to use on a project at Christmas, but, you know, it doesn't have to just be for Christmas, does it? But if you're thinking of Christmas things, it's going to come in useful. Now I just need a bit more of my adhesive under here. And then we'll come in, bring the flowers in and we'll add the larger flower first. So again, a bit more adhesive on the back. I'm just going to poke that down, and you can build up the design. Just let me check that you can see what I'm doing. And then I've got one of the smaller ones. We'll pop that there. But while we're actually putting that, let's add one of the leaves. And I cut the leaves up individually, look. We'll add one of the leaves under there. And then maybe just one under there. Right, so next flower, I think I might have enough on there. Let's pop, if we pop it in the middle, that's nice. So we've got a bit of the lovely reindeer moss around it. So let's have a look. We can put another flower, and again, you will take your time, and this is so lovely to do. And have a look at your embellishment, see what else you've got that you could add. I'm going to put another leaf there and just turn it round and add these two on this side. So if I pop one in there, now I don't like that sticking out, so I'm just going to see if I can catch that under there. Yep. And then this one, last one, catch that under there. Right, and if I turn that round, and I think, like I say, I mean, if you used red flowers, this will be lovely for Christmas. Now, I know I mentioned the Christmas word, but you could start making your Christmas tags now, couldn't you? So let's add a couple of lovely stickers. Right. We've got to go nature. And that I'm just going to put up here. And relax. Something we all need to do more, don't we? There we go. Posca pen. I'm going to go for white. Now you could add some stickles, some glitter. I'm leaving this one without glitter, but obviously, you know, options are there. We'll just go right across with the white. And then the last little finishing touch, we're going to come in with some liquid pearls, and this is rose gold. So I'm just going to test it on my mat, and then we'll have one in the middle, and I want a nice raised blob for this in the centre of each. And remember, that will take a while to dry, but it will dry beautiful and solid. And so when you think about it there, we've used our watercolour card. Again, have you got some of that in? We've used scraps of card to make our flowers. We've used the Dinkles. I bet you've got some of those in. We've used, what threads have you got? Again, I've got the gold and silver. The craft yarn, you could have popped some of this thread underneath. But I just think it adds all that lovely detail. And as for that washi tape, look. It's just that little bit of detail underneath. And I love that. You know, imagine making a few of these. And you know what? You could have them as tags or pop them on a card for a Christmas design. Or put a magnet on the back and then the person could actually take it off once they've received it. I'm thinking so many options with this. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I can't wait to see what you create. I just think it's beautiful. I hope you do too. I hope you've enjoyed that. Enjoy the rest of your evening, if it is evening. If it's morning, enjoy the rest of your day. Make sure you get at least one brew and cheeky biscuit just for me. So you take care. I'll pop back again soon. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.